how Rocket learned to read. And this is available in your library. I borrowed it from your librarian, so you can check this out if you like it.
I want it.
Raise your hand and tell me who is teaching you how to read? Caitlin? Miss Castle's teaching you how to read? Who's teaching you how to read?
My brother.
Your brother's teaching you how to read? What a great brother. Ava, who's teaching you how to read?
My mom.
Your mom is teaching you how to read? That's wonderful. Who's
My
teaching?
mom and Miss Cassie.
Your mom and Miss Castle is teaching you how to read? That is amazing. We'll do one more set. Who is teaching you how to read? Your mom is teaching you how to read? All right, we'll have other opportunities to talk about who is teaching you how to read. While I'm reading this book, I want you to be listening for sight words and maybe even a vocabulary word you may have before. Because in this book, there's a lot of really great vocabulary words like gorgeous and lively. All right, so let's read and see how Rocket learned to read. Rocket loved to play. He loved to chase leaves and chew on sticks. He loved to listen to the birds sing. Every fall morning after chasing leaves, Rocket would lie down in his favorite spot under his favorite tree. There he'd sniff the neighborhood smells and settled in for a good nap. But one day, a little yellow bird startled Rocket. "Aha! My first student! Wonderful!" she sang. Rocket was confused. "Student? I'm not a..." "But if I am your teacher," the little bird interrupted, "then you must be my student." Rocket found it hard to argue with this little bird. "I am so glad you saw my sign," the bird chirped. "Oh, yes, I can see it," Rocket said, "but I don't know how to read." "Can't read? Fantastic!" She waved a wing. "Welcome to my class." "But I just came here to nap," Rocket said. No, there will be no napping in class," declared the little bird, "except, of course, during nap time." "Well, then, I can take my nap over here," said Rocket. "I've had a very busy morning." "Not to worry, I'll be around every day," chirped the bird, "until the weather turns." As Rocket breathed in the crisp air, the little yellow bird hung her banner. "Ah, the wondrous, mighty, gorgeous alphabet," she marveled, "where it all begins." Opening up a book, the bird began to read. She sang out the story of an unlucky dog named Buster who'd lost his favorite bone. A cool breeze carried her lively voice across the yard. At first, Rocket was disturbed. The next morning, Rocket arrived early. At last, the little bird appeared. "Hello, how wonderful to see you in class," chirped the bird. "I can tell your waggy tail that you are well rested." "I'd like to hear the end of the story, please," said Rocket. "That seems a fine way to start the day," chirped the bird. She gave Rocket a name tag and began to read. Every day, Rocket returned to the little yellow bird's classroom. In the morning, the bird taught him a few letters, until he had learned all of the wondrous, mighty, gorgeous alphabet. Together they sang out the sounds that each letter makes and spelled the sounds they heard around them. With a G and many R's, they spelled Mr. Barker's growl. Grrr. They spelled the sound of the wind, which was growing colder by the day. Whoosh. Soon they were spelling words like F-A-L-L, fall, for the gusty time of year, and R-E-D, red, for the color of the leaves. Each afternoon, the bird read a story. She read stories about dogs and birds. She read about leaves changing colors, and about birds flying south for the winter. Then one day the weather turned and the letter banner disappeared. "See you again in the glorious spring," the bird sang. As she flew into the wintry sky, she called, "Don't forget, words are built one letter at a time." The days grew shorter and the leaves fell from the trees. The grass became crunchy. Soon, Rocket's classroom disappeared under the snow. He remembered the little yellow bird's alphabet and practiced his letters. Rocket thought about the bird's sweet chirp while he sounded out words like D-I-G, dig, and W-I-N-D, wind, and C-O-L-D, cold. He made a few friends and spelled their names. Hello, E-M-M-A, Emma. Hi there, F-R-E-D, Fred. He spelled everything. S-U-N, sun. M-E-L-T, melt. When Rocket spelled M-U-D, he knew that spring, as it always does, had returned. And it says, class starts tomorrow. The breeze blew warmer, the grass grew greener, and a sign appeared. So I have a question for you. How is Rocket learning to read? How is Rocket learning to read, dear mine?
By the bird.
By the bird? So the bird is teaching him how to read. Yeah. And during the winter, the bird flew south for the winter. How is he learning to read on his own? Ava?
He's using his letters.
He's using his letters?
And his words.
And his words?
And he's sounding out.
And he's sounding them out. So is this a lot like how Miss Castle or your mom or your brother is teaching you how to read, and then on your own, are you practicing your letters and your sounds and building your words one letter at a time, Caitlin? Or your sister? And you're building those words one letter at a time, so he's practicing on his own as well. Early the next morning, Rocket rushed to this classroom. As he waited, he spelled W-A-G, wag. Soon the little yellow bird arrived. Aha, my star student, she sang. How wonderful to see you. I can tell by your waggy tail that you are ready for class. Then together they began to read. They read stories about birds flying north in the spring. They read about picnics in the warm sun. And they read about Buster, the lucky dog who found his bone under the lilac bush. And when they were done, they read it again and again and again. So, what happened at the beginning of our story? Aiden?
He was holding a stick.
At the beginning of the story, he was holding a stick and he was taking long afternoon naps and he was playing by himself.
And then the bird came.
And then the bird came. And then what happened in the middle of our story, Ava?
He read a book.
Did he know how to read in the middle of the story, or was he practicing?
He was practicing.
He was practicing. So what happened in the middle of the story? How did he practice?
He learned.
He learned by learning his letters and then his sound. And then at the end of the book, you're right, Ava, he learned how to read a book. So what is the best way for you to learn to read like the character Rocket?
And the bird.
What is the best way for you to learn how to read like our character Rocket? What do you think?
To read with lots of people, and I read with 3 people.
To read with lots of people? Okay,
I can tell you 3 people I can read.
So by reading lots of books, that's a great way to practice. What's another way that you can practice on your own? By practicing your letters and your sight words.
And your sounding out.
And
your names.
later we're going to work on our sight words. All right, thank you guys for letting me read a story to you.
Nice job.
Nice job.
Thank you.